What's up, guys? It's your boys from Madden.com, and today I'm going to break down a few different shells for you out of dollar that are going to play a really good prevent style of defense for you. So I would say this is more than just a bend but don't break. This is more of a niche situational type defense, because if they're in a 2-minute drill and you just really do not want to give up the big plays, you don't want to give up the sidelines, I think that's really important because you just want to keep that clock running, give them 5 to 10 yards at a time. That's totally fine. So that's why I wanted to make it very clear. It's not necessarily a bend but don't break. The goal really is to make sure that they have to check it down in the middle of the field and then allow that clock to keep running. So I just wanted to make that clear. Now, before I get into the breakdown, I just want to give a huge shout out to King Wolf. The guy has shown me so much love since the beginning of the year, and really actually before that. He's just been a real one. So make sure you guys head over to his channel if you guys want to see his content. He's a really funny guy. He does both entertainment and helpful tips. So if you guys want different insight on the game, on how to just get better, or just watch him play, do gameplays, and just be funny the entire time, check that out. King Wolf. I'm going to leave the link in the description, and then you guys can check him out, become members to his YouTube if you guys would like. And yeah, I just want to show him some love. He's been doing it for me all year. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first shell we're going to talk about is going to be cover 4 drop contain. I do think cover 4 drop is just a really good way to go in general in regards to playing a prevent, because it is a drop coverage. Every deep zone has a quarter of the field, and it's just really hard to get over the top of it. It's one of the best prevent defenses traditionally. So, you know, we can modify it and make it a little bit better, in my opinion, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and do cover 4 drop contain out of $32. Now, in coaching adjustments, I do recommend putting your curl flats on, I would say 20 or 25. Now, it kind of depends on what offense they're in, I would say. If they're in a meta formation, I would probably go with 25 personally. But if they're not, 20 is perfectly acceptable. I'll just do 25 for now because I'm going to go against U-trips and it's relatively meta. So cover 4 drop contain, and then we'll just do Pats Y out. So here's how I like to personally set it up. I like to base align, and then I do not press. The reason I don't press is because if you press, these curl flats have no chance of getting depth. No chance. They'll get like, let's go ahead and just show you. Like, you see how, you know, they're dropping, but like they're dropping so slowly. That's the problem with zone drops this year. If your guys are pressed, they're just not going to get to their spots fast enough. And I show that in a later shell where it's very, very important that you do not press. This one's a little bit less important. The reason that it kind of sucks having to do it like this is you have really no threat of a blitz. They kind of know you're playing a coverage. I mean, you could technically send your slot cornerbacks, but overall it really wouldn't be smart when they're backed off like this. So it does give a tell that you are playing coverage, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, this is situational. You're playing a prevent brand of defense. So here's how I like to set it up personally. I like to put this guy in a third. The reason I like to do that, and when I say this guy, I mean the strong side safety. So this is the trip side safety. You put him in an inside third. The reason I like doing this is if they know you're in a cover 4 drop, some people do have labbed up bombs to get over those quarters. And I also just feel like the third is a really good zone, the inside third, personally. All I'm going to do is just kind of move him out over here if they have a trip set. That way he just kind of defends the seam a little bit better. In the event that they're spamming you with seam throws, you know, you might want to change it back to his quarter. But for now, let's go ahead and leave him on this. I just think it's a better overall zone. And then what we'll do is put the strong side linebacker in a mid-read. I think that's really important for taking away these tight end crossers, tight end post, you know, the very sharp post from like the slot apprentice receivers. And then I like to blitz my user. You have to do that if you're going to send 3 at the quarterback. That way the pass rush actually comes in. And then we're going to crash our defensive line up. That way they're not on contains, they're on pass rush angles. So this is going to do a great job of keeping everything in front of you. They're going to have to check it down to the flats or check it down underneath. Then again, we're going to be kind of using underneath this mid-read. So they're not going to have a whole lot of things open. Overall, really good defense. Let's go to instant replay. Like I said, we do move that safety out, so the seam throw isn't going to be super open. He ends up being on a wheel. He could throw him right here. And this is where I would say knowing the formation kind of comes into play. So for instance, if they spam you with this and they start hitting the wheel and they get, you know, 10, 15 yards and getting out of bounds, you're not gonna be able to stay in this. You're gonna have to change it up. You're gonna have to, for instance, maybe man the slot cornerback up to the wheel, or you can change to one of the other shells that I show you guys later in the video. I just wanted to mention that because it is not going to take away everything, because we're not playing a double Mabel. If we're not playing a double Mabel, there's going to be options in the flats. But the good thing about having a curl flat at 25, for instance, is going to do a good job of taking away those corner routes on the sideline. And I feel like that's kind of the common way of trying to attack the sideline. The wheels, not so much, although they totally could if they're using bunch or U-trips. Okay, sorry, that's a mouthful. So we'll do it one more time. Let's go ahead and change up the route combination. Let's go ahead and do like, we'll do a seam throw here. Let's just actually do double streaks like this. See what happens. So what you're going to see, the seam throw is really not available. I would say it's really not something they can throw. So this curl flat does a good job of taking him away for a second. Right here, you know, I'd say you probably could. It has to be thrown literally right now, and he'll be tackled immediately, I would say. This guy is the guy who's going to be open. He's wide open here. If he throws him right here, for instance, I have complete faith in this curl flat to come up and tackle him in bounds. Then we have this mid read, takes away this sharp post for a second. And then he kind of does get open like right here, I would say. Then again, is he quarterback getting sacked right now? Yeah, he's getting sacked right now. But this curl flat's going to do a good job at 25, taking that away when he gets to that part of the field. So overall, I think that's a really good prevent style shell for you guys to use. Very little risk to getting bombed. And overall, you're going to keep everything in front of you. I'd say there's very specific routes where you can get 10, 15 yards along the sideline and get out of bounds. At that point, that's when you're just going to have to adjust your shell a little bit according to what they're doing. The next shell we're going to talk about is just kind of a double Mabel that, you know, it could be good versus really anything. This is something that I would feel comfortable using against gun bunch, like verticals and stuff. So DB Fire 2 is the play we'll make the shell out of. Now, I will say that you need to go to your coaching adjustments. So click your right stick in and then put your flats on 30, your curl flats on 15. And then we're going to create a really good double Mabel with those zone drops. So DB Fire 2, this is probably something you guys are relatively familiar with. It's not like it's super unique, but you're going to base a line here. And this is very important. Do not press. Anytime you run a double Mabel in this game, personally, I'm not going to press because you want those deep flats to really get back to 30. If you press them, I'll go ahead and show you. Let me go ahead and set up the defense first. We're going to put both of our slot cornerbacks in curl flats. That way they drop to the 15. And then, as always, you send the 3. You have to blitz your user so that your pass rush actually comes in. So let's go ahead and pay attention to what these flats do on the outside. So let's go ahead and snap. So let's go ahead and take a quick little look. You're going to see on the left side specifically, you're going to see that he gets outran very quickly. So let's go ahead and look. This guy on the outside is in a 30, but look, wide receiver's already open. Now, this deep half, you know, he can make a play on that, but that's not what you want from these outside flats. You really want to make sure that they do get back, they do not get outran, and they defend the sidelines properly. Right here, this guy's about to run open, and he hasn't even dropped to, so let's see what he's at. 30-yard line-ish. He drops to about 15 yards before this guy outruns him, and it's just not good. So when you run this double Mabel, keep it backed off. That way they actually drop to the 30. So let's go ahead and put those guys in curl flats again. This guy's going to be in a deep blue in the middle. Just protect those safeties in between and then blitz your user. What you're going to see against a play like verticals is that really the only things are open. There's very small windows over the middle of the field, and that's perfectly fine because we want them to obviously throw the ball underneath and run the clock. So now here's the thing. There's a small window here. If he passes it right here where he could probably catch that and he get a deep completion, even though the clock runs, we don't really want that. So what you can do is you can just take that with your user if you really want to, if you're expecting it, some kind of deep crossing route, and then let them check it down to the running back. And that's fine. Hopefully this guy over here, he can rally up, make the tackle, keep him in bounds. Other than that, everything's pretty much taken away. You know, you could probably throw this guy immediately. In the event that they start doing that, they're using this very specific play. You might want to, I would say, move out the slot cornerback or man him up to him. It just kind of depends. Verticals is a very good play. It's always been a good play, and it always has different rules than just a standard double Mabel. But overall, this shell is really good just for keeping everything in front of you, and then also making sure you protect the sidelines and encourage a throw over the middle of the field and just keep that clock running. Next, I'm going to show you a good prevent out of man, and it's going to be cover 2 man, but we're going to do something a little different with it. So cover 2 man, and then we'll go ahead and go against verticals, but out of trips. And let me go ahead and respot the ball here, so we're actually on trips are to the wide side. And for those of you who don't know this about cover 2 man, there is a stock shade underneath and shade inside. And in some cases, that can be good. I feel like if you're playing a prevent defense, that's not really what you want. I'm fine with the inside shade, actually. Then again, if you're playing a prevent, you could want the outside shade, protect the sidelines a little bit better. So what I highly recommend doing is, first of all, if you're playing trips, you probably want to put this guy in the running back. And then you blitz this guy and use him. That's your first step. And then shade over the top is a must, so triangle or Y. And then right stick up. We're now shaded up. And I'm going to show you real quick why that's kind of important. Let me go ahead and shade down. And let's go ahead and look at a route combination like this. So let's go ahead and look at the tight end. What you're going to see is, ended up being a pick because it was a bad throw. But look at the inside slot and the tight end. What you're going to see with a shade underneath, they do automatically go into a trail technique because they know they have help over the top. But I feel like that's not something that you necessarily want in a prevent defense. You kind of want them to stay with the receivers, I would say, because they could easily just throw this inside slot right now and get a big gain. And overall, you don't want to give up big gains even if they're in the middle of the field. So I just prefer the over-the-top shade. So remember, man this guy up to the running back if you're playing trips. If you're not playing trips, you don't have to necessarily do that. But the thing you do have to do is shade up, like I just said. And then you do have the option to shade outside. I think it could be smart in regards to protecting the sidelines a little bit better. So now we have just a shaded up, shaded out, cover 2 man. And then you're going to see the difference is pretty crazy. There's nothing really open. Y might look kind of open, but he really isn't. I trust that guy to really stay with him. So let's go ahead and look. This is the only guy who looked even remotely open. And the thing I like about the cover 2 man is in a lot of cases, you do have double coverage in a lot of spots. So like right here, this guy's double covered for quite a long time. He's not getting out and helping on the outside necessarily, so he could get ag glitched. But I think cover 2 man is a really overall solid coverage to use when you do shade over the top. Now, if you want to take it one step further, this is what you would do if you really just want to make sure that you don't get bombed. You just back off your coverage by hitting Y or triangle and then left stick up to give cushion. And that's just going to really make sure that you're not going to get bombed. However, you're going to be a little bit more susceptible to things underneath. Corner routes can also do a little bit better versus this sometimes. Make sure you shade outside here. But this is overall, it's a really safe shell. If you want to move this guy out to right here, you could. That protects the sidelines a little bit better. But really nothing is going to get super over the top of you. I will say when you play a defense like this, you are still susceptible to a tight end crosser, a tight end post, an inside slot crosser. Those kind of things you have to be on the lookout for as the user. But everything else is really hard to throw. So let's go ahead and snap it one more time. You're going to see overall really good coverage across the board. So that's pretty much it. I showed you guys 3 different prevent shells that are going to do a really good job of keeping everything in front of you, hopefully preventing certain sideline throws and just really keeping that clock running, because I think that's kind of the point of a prevent defense. And I do have a few more that I could talk about. If you guys want me to post more, let me know in the comment section, as well as drop a like if the video gets to 200 likes. Then I will definitely drop more of those shells. I do have, I think, 3 or 4 more that I like to mix in, including a blitz that's going to get the ball out quickly, but also keep the clock running. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more Madden 23 content. And if you guys want more wins, you just need to get better at the game, acemadden.com, become a member, use code ACE for 15% off at checkout. It's super cheap. It's like $8 to become a member, like a base level member, and you'll gain access to all of our ebooks. We currently have 5 up right now. There will be a 6th very soon, which is a new offense, and it's going to be really, really good. So that's going to be it. I'll see you guys later.